Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Shreya here, and today's video is going to be extra special because I am joined by a very talented guest and a close friend of mine. We are going to discuss how can a student maintain a 9 plus CGPA in college, and this is something that is there on every student's mind because every student wants to achieve this, but they often find it quite challenging, managing your college life with your personal life. So today we have with us Ashvi Guleria, who has achieved exceptional academic success, and she has some great strategies we can all learn from. She has interned at Adobe, and she has managed to maintain a high CGPA while she has bagged an internship at Adobe. Without further delay, I welcome you, Ashvi, to NextTechies. Could we start with a short introduction from you?
Yes. So first of all, thank you, Shreya, for inviting me to NextTechies. I think this is one of a great initiatives that you're doing, helping out students and the juniors especially. So hi guys. I think Shreya has already given a very vivid introduction for me, but I'm Ashri Valera and I'm a final year student and I'm in the same batch as Shreya. We are really close friends as well. Apart from that, I've interned at Adobe. Before that, I interned at DRDO. I'm also a women engineer scholar. I love tech community. I love attending events, mentoring, attending hackathons, participating in workshops, etc. And I'm also like from IGDTW. So I think that's all about me, and I think we can start with the video.
Sure, let's jump straight into it. So, when a new semester starts, how do you plan your semester right at the very beginning? Because it is very important to approach your study subjects, or make a proper routine for each subject on how you are going to study that.
Exactly. So I'll give you a very honest answer, like any other engineering student. I'll not give you a fancy answer. So the honest answer it is that definitely in the beginning, nobody makes a direct plan on how they have to conquer the subject, how they have to go about it. First, what I do is generally that I start attending the classes in the beginning of the semester so that I know what type of subject it is. I can get the concept of the subject, wrap my head around it and know that okay, how much practice or how much effort I need for the subject, and then I plan the semester for every subject, like okay, how I have to cover the subject, the previous year questions. I think that is one of the most important thing that sometimes we miss out on, and keep it for the last days. But I don't, because I think covering your syllabus is one part for the exams, and I think previous year questions give you a good approach to it. Apart from then I check with like take notes from the seniors, or for example we have some resource from the college, etc. So I go about that. So yeah, I plan it differently for every subject depending upon its difficulty level and how much practice that it needs. So
So
yeah.
basically, first checking out what we have to actually do in the
Exactly.
semester.
Because for example, a subject for like applied mathematics or subject like theory of computation. Now these are the subjects that need me to sit down and practice for some time because I need to get the concept then. Whereas there are some of subjects which are kind of more theoretical, or some of the subjects which are more practical in terms of the coding base. For example, where you have to make projects that instead of just sitting down and practicing, etc. So I think this depends upon everything. Now sometimes I have to spend more time in doing the lab work than doing the written work because that is more challenging. Sometimes even the theory papers might not be that difficult as the practical exams might be, because again the coding part is there. So it depends upon subject to subject, as I said. Obviously for the purely theoretical papers, I think 2-3 days are fine. You can just go about it and read the content, make short notes. However, for papers like as I said, you require practice. Then obviously I started like from a proper time so that I can continue it and manage it and complete my syllabus well within the deadline for the exam. And apart from that, if like for example the subject has some practical aspect, then I make sure that I'm practicing it with time, because in the end days it's obviously not possible to cover all of it. And obviously I think attending college somewhere really helps, especially for engineering students. I know it is a myth that goes around, but I also think that okay, not 100% attendance is something I also don't support or stand by. But I still think that going to college will help you, because at least when you go there and you listen to it, you will get some of the concepts, and those are the concepts which are actually helpful in your interviews and etc. Because not every time you'll come back home and sit down and study. So sometimes it's just what you hear in the college, that might also help for you to revise the topic. It makes it easier because you understood it. Otherwise you have to go about 100 YouTube videos first and then get the concept. So in the college, you can ask your professor, your friends, even your friends can solve your doubts. So I think planning a subject depends upon obviously the difficulty level of the subject, how much effort that subject requires, but it also depends upon how you tackle it. For example, what is your forte? Like for example, I think I'm good in theory subjects, so I don't take too much time in theory subjects. But for example, somebody who's good, more good is like better at practical, or who's better at practicing, or they do not require that much time, so they might not spend too much time on that, and they might require more time on the theory part. So it depends upon student to student. But yeah, I think we should obviously take input from senior as well, because seniors give us a good input, okay, how much time is needed for a particular subject to go about. So yeah, so I think the professors and seniors, and definitely the level of the subject, these are the three things I think that we should keep in mind while planning any subject for a semester.
Okay. Now, I feel like time management is also a very important factor in maintaining a high CGPA. So, I mean, how do you manage to, ensure that you stay on top of your assignments, projects, and exams without feeling overwhelmed?
Exactly. So I think obviously like there is a lot to do in one semester. Not just those exams, we have electives, then we have some internships, we have some workshops to attend, and plus all of us have a personal life. And I, being one, I really prefer to have a good balance between my personal and professional life. Otherwise, it will be it will be a big burnout. So yeah, for managing my tasks, so I generally take help from these to-do list things. Okay, I am a planner girly, if we say the Gen Z terms. Okay, so I really like writing down all my tasks, and then the feeling of ticking one or the other is very good, because I've achieved it for the day. Apart from that, you can use even there were times when my friends told that they're using even Google Excel sheets, etc. You can go about using that also. You need to prioritize what you want to do, because I'm part of many clubs. Like even Shreya and I run together a club of ACM. Apart from that, we have assignments and we have deadlines for some viva, some practicals. Then you have your friends to meet, and there is a lot of things both in personal and the student life. So to, as you said, to balance, it's very important to balance both of them. So I make sure that I'm managing, okay, what is the deadline that is the earliest, and obviously I have to see the magnitude of the task. For example, if there is a bigger task, then I have to, I try to do it in small chunks every day, so that I do not get delayed for a deadline, or the deadline does not miss. However, if it's a smaller task and I think that okay, I can do it near the deadline, then I may push it forward. But I try to make sure that I am staying top of all the assignments or all the work. I'm planning it such a way. So I think planning is very important. So just a small tip is, like, for example, try to plan your day just one night before. Like, okay, so for example, for tomorrow, whatever I have to do, I'll write it down in my planner today. You can use the Apple Notes, you can use the normal notes, you can use any note app, to-do list app, the Excel sheet, anything, even WhatsApp, even a personal WhatsApp chat with yourself. Keep Write it somewhere, because when you write it, you will probably do it. The chance of doing it is more than you're just remembering it. So I make sure that I write it somewhere, and then when I'm topping it off, okay, I've done with this and this, so it makes a checklist for the day. So try to do that, and then you plan your calendar accordingly, so then it will be a good balance, so you'll not be missing out anything, like both the fun part and the tough part. So
I
I
think,
think
yeah,
that
like even just writing down on a simple piece of paper a day
or
before,
on your
and
laptop, because
yeah,
if you cannot on your
exactly.
laptop, you will remember, okay, next tomorrow I
And
have to do
when
that.
you tick it off, you get so much self satisfaction. Okay, I have completed this, I can move to the next task. So I think,
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't want to use any electronic item, you can simply write it on paper and do it. And I think with time, you just keep getting better and better with this.
Exactly. Like I am, as I said, I used to use either use planners, like the proper traditional planners with these months and everything, or for the aesthetics, just for the aesthetics, I sometimes try to use iPad. Okay, but I still realize that writing it on paper is way more productive than actually writing it on any electronic device, because I
Yeah.
might skip that. I might not open my iPad that day, but I will definitely open my planner for some reason or the other. So yeah, I suggest that make some list and like go about that.
Basically, prioritizing is very, very important, I would
Very
say.
important.
Okay, so now let's talk about active learning. So I have heard you mention that instead of just reading or highlighting, you actively engage with the material. So I mean, how do you do that, and how has that been beneficial with regards to your grades?
Actually, I think that that is a very big misconception, that is there, that people think that okay, 2 days before the exam we'll learn it and then write the answers, and when they do not get the results, they generally tend, end up blaming the question paper or something like that, and
Hmm.
that is something that is very very stupid on their end. Why? I will tell, because I think rote learning would not be not the answer to how do you go about these exams. What you actually have to do is you have to understand the concept, because the question might not be direct. I've seen many times when the questions are not direct, we end up going bonkers in the exam. That, oh my god, how did this question come? Because we did not expect it that way. But that is the thing. The questions might not be direct all the time. I remember in the time of JE also, I think the questions were not always direct. Many of the times we had to twist our head and think a lot. But I think sometimes in the college we lose this practice. So I think we should get this back. We should understand the material. Try to if you want to just memorize it, try to memorize in a story form or in a formation that you have some visual aid in your head. So what I do is, when I study, so I try to teach it to myself. For example, if I'm a 5-year-old kid and I have to teach it to myself, so that is what happens, is that in the morning of the exams, whenever my friends come and ask me in the morning that, okay, what was this, what was that, so I can teach them that topic then and there in 5 minutes. So if you can make somebody understand even the toughest of the topic in 5 or 6 minutes, which means that you have actually understood it. So I think that is how you should go about it. You should make sure that first of all you should learn it such a way that, okay, if you were the examiner, how would you make a question paper like that? Pretend that you were a narcissistic examiner and you want to fail the kids. So how would you make a paper like that? So you'll obviously put a tough question there. So that is the way that I think whenever I'm studying, that okay, how the question might come from this topic, or how question might come from this topic. That actually helps me to easily recognize it. Or I even if let's say it's a long theory subject, it's very boring, and I might not able to remember everything. Then I try to make some acronym, something like so story, because you can never rote learn it. Rote learning and mugging up the things will never help you. You will forget it by the time you reach your college year. You might end up forgetting a lot of things. So I think what you have to do is you have to make some relation in your mind, so that you are actually understanding what is there. And it's not just about the books also. When you go out, for example, in these technical events, etc., you're actually having some hands-on knowledge. Like there are a lot of workshops are being organized. For example, when I, for my first year, I was introduced with this cloud computing and Kubernetes and Dockers, etc. That was very overwhelming for me, but I saw it in a workshop. But when I came in my third year and I read it in my cloud computing subject, then it made so much sense. Because that was because I had already somewhere seen it, heard it. I somewhere had it in my mind. So I think going out or like exploring these topics on your own also helps. You could just not have to wait it for the college to introduce such a topic. So explore on your end, and I think that will be very helpful. And I would just say that avoid ratta marna nahi chahiye. Avoid that. That would ultimately help you in nowhere, because that would be it might help you in an exam in a good GPA, but it will not help you in like interviews or etc.
Yeah, because I feel like subjects like OOPS, DBMS, you have to, like understand these subjects. You cannot just simply learn, because these are the subjects that are asked in interviews also. So rather than, like prepare, you can go ahead with preparing it one time rather than doing it multiple times, just because, you memorized it before and now you actually want to understand that. So I think this whole process can be done in one time, like how Ashvi mentioned. So
Exactly. I think this is what happened with my interview also. So basically, when my interviewer, this is a very fun story, I still laugh about it, but my interviewer saw my GPA and he was very much impressed. Like, he was not impressed, he was a bit surprised, because obviously we remember listening from our parents that, 80% marks were so much at that time. So he asked me, and he was a very senior person, like he was a very senior interviewer. So he asked me that, okay, you have such a high GPA, so you must be very good in all of your CS fundamentals. And I was scared at that point of time. But obviously, because I said that do not rote learn it, so I was able to comprehend and remember all what I had studied back then in my third semester, and I could tell that, okay, this like he asked me questions from OOP, software engineering, operating systems, etc. All of which I studied in third semester or something like that. But I could answer him, because that is the reason. But yeah, because a good GPA also sometimes might put you in a trouble like that, that your interviewer will be impressed, but then also he'll be curious that, okay, you have such high GPA, because still in our country GPA is equivalent to your level of your knowledge. So
yes.
yeah, somewhere he got that, but thank God I was saved that day. But yeah, so that's just something that happened with me. So please avoid rote learning and mugging up things, and support active learning.
What tips and strategies do you, follow to effectively answer in your exams, like that could help you score better?
So basically, I think answering in exams is it's kind of an art, or like I would say a technique, strategy that you have to make, because see, examiners are very busy. They have to check like I think hundreds of paper for like the entire batch and everything. So obviously they can't spend 10-15 minutes on your only paper and then go about, because that would not be possible. Just like both we have, right? So I think when you're writing the paper, you just have to make the examiner understand that you have understood the topic, so that and it should reflect in your paper. Now I'm not asking you to use color pencils, color pens, or so glittery tape or etc. What I'm basically asking is that when you're writing the paper, first of all, make sure the paper is neat, because an untidy paper, obviously it just spoils the mood of the examiner also, because a tiring day and then checking that untidy writing, that would obviously no, even we don't like that. So first of all, make sure that you're maintaining a writing. Secondly, please try to write faster papers, like, because papers are generally lengthy. So try to complete it. Make sure that you're marking, first of all, writing your answers. You're labeling the answer correct. There are a lot of times I've seen people not labeling them right, and then afterwards they're complaining that okay, I forgot here, I forgot there. So don't make it difficult for the examiner than it already is. And then try to just try to separate out, try to use bullet points first of all, so that the examiner can find the keywords. If you feel like that you have written the exact keywords that were supposed to be answered, try to highlight them with some pencil or some black pen or something like that, so that examiners know that okay, because it's a 10-mark answer, let's say it's a 4-page answer. Not reading it completely is definitely not possible for everybody. Like obviously might some be possible, but not every time. So just make sure that you're highlighting the important points, so that the examiner can get the gist of it, and it would help him to basically go about it easily and then navigate it easily through your paper and understand that okay, the student has understood the topic. Because obviously not everybody is interested in the theory part, but examiner basically says, one assesses that you have understood the question, what was supposed to be answered, and have you covered all those parts. So try to make diagrams if possible, because obviously, as I said before, visually it definitely helps. So examiner is also a person, and it will help her or him understand that okay, you've understood the question, what was supposed to be asked. Make some flowcharts if possible, and I think that is the main points which you should keep in mind when you're answering the questions, because uh, answering questions is very important. If you just go on writing 8-9 paragraphs all together, that would make it very difficult for the examiner to check. So you should help the examiner. Try to write bullet points, as I said, mark the important points, go about in a good handwriting, and it is not about the marks and the page relation. It is more about the content. For example, if that question requires a diagram in it, if it's like a 2-mark question, then make a diagram, because I think that will have more impact on the examiner than having the entire impact of being for a 10-mark question. So it depends on question to question what is supposed to be asked, and just make sure that even if you don't remember the entire content, because it might be possible that you might have not studied that topic, or since you have not studied in that depth, as I said. So just make sure that you are not making up stories and writing. You are just explaining that again thoroughly, basically that entire thing, so that examiner can also know that the student has tried something. So don't write it for the sake of pages. Try it for explaining your answers and justifying your answers.
Now, of course, maintaining a high CGPA is not just about studies. You need to find that right balance between your personal life and college life. So, how do you do that?
Obviously, like I think studying your entire engineering will definitely be very boring, and I think engineering is one of the it's kind of happening if you have the right friends and the right people around you. So yeah, I obviously make sure that I'm managing it well. Obviously, during the exam season, I try to make sure that I'm more focused towards studying. But yeah, if that exam season is not there, if the the semester is a bit light for the time being, so I make sure that I try to hang out with my friends, go out with my family, or sometimes I even enjoy these technical events and running some clubs, etc. Then I have a good interest in research, so those are the times that I take up my research interest and jump up to a new topic. Apart from that, I would also say that have a good set of friends, because they will always help you. Don't have a very wild set of friends, because they will not help you reach anywhere. Don't have a very boring set of friends, because then they will exhaust you at one point. So have a good set of friends. Go on trips with them. Go out with your family, as I said before. Weekends are something that you can use judiciously, because weekends you can keep it a bit light. Like I try to pursue some hobby on weekends. For example, I like learning a language, like a foreign language, something like that. So on weekends I try to do that. Apart from that, spend time with the people around you. I think it should be a more of a balance. I think all of us, especially the people, your audience, somebody who's the age group of 18, 17 to 20, to 21, something like that. So all of us, we do know what are your priorities in your life, and you know how you have to plan out. As I said, prioritizing everything. So prioritizing does not only apply to the professional part; it also applies to your personal part. So work something, do something things which are for yourself. For example, if you like building products, go for a hackathon. If if you have built enough, then you try being mentor at one, try being speaker at some session. Try doing that, because that will help you a lot in your public speaking. It will actually help you in your holistic development. Because nobody likes somebody who's just sitting on the chair and studying the entire time. We all of us love a jack of all trades. So why not be one? And for that, you need to network with people, connect with people, meet new people, and engage with them. There are a lot of opportunities out there in research. Then apart from that, there are a lot of programs that companies run. For example, sometimes it's a cohort, or sometimes it's some boot camp, etc. So try being that, try doing that, because that will help you a lot in your personal and even your professional development. It will make you ready for the corporate world as well. So, and it will obviously give you a break from the study. Now this is the best part, because you will be already learning something here, but then it's a break also from the traditional studying, etc. So do that, engage in your college activities. I really think that participating in college club activities is very something that will definitely help you. Depends upon whatever interest you have. For example, you have interest in photography or makeup or modeling, whatever clubs that run in your, even if you have a technical, even if you have interest in technical aspects, for example, like coding, etc. So you can be part of college club, build a website for it, then do something like about that. It will definitely take your mind off the traditional studying part, and you will always be doing something that would be uplifting your both of your resume and your personal development part. So it both will be taken care of. So yeah, don't be a bore. Definitely don't be sit around. Nobody talk to. Make sure you have good friends. You have people to reach out to. You have like, friends to talk to, etc. So yeah, and you can. I think there are a lot of interests that are going out around like editing. For example, if you would like going around, so prefer you can make start up some page, or connect with people, or share some tips or something with people. So that will actually help you to engage with newer audience, newer set of people, and will obviously take your mind off the studying.
Thank you, Ashvi, for sharing your, sharing these amazing tips, and I am sure viewers are going to find this super helpful. So, I really hope this can help with their own academic journeys. So, anything you would like to say?
I would want to tell something that you missed. So, the semester I scored a 10 GPA. In the semester, Shreya also scored a 10 GPA, and I think she did not tell that. So, I would also want you to share your tips, because even though we have been friends for so long and everything, we discuss a lot of things, but I really want you also share with your viewers that what you do. What is the thing that's different from me that you go about, or something even similar? I think your viewers would love to hear Shreya Didi.
I think I follow this pattern of, summarizing my notes into kind of a diagram. So if it's some, architecture, I'll like go ahead with first starting with the diagram. So I understand what the diagram is about and then going ahead with the theory part. So I try to make it a bit diagram oriented so I can easily
You're a
understand.
more artistic person, I think. So
Yeah.
it makes
So
more sense to you for that.
yeah, so I go ahead with that, and if I get time in my exam, so I underline it. Like if there is if I feel that there is something I have written, it's good. I kind of underline it, but that's only if I get time. Otherwise, I only make sure to just underline the headings, simple headings, and not like the keywords there. So I only follow these two strategies only. But rest is it's all about understanding the concept, and then you can write it in your own words. So that is something I kind of follow, that instead of just like ratta maro, I actually understand it, write it in my own words, and this also makes me feel satisfied that I've understood it and then I've written it in my own. So that is how I go ahead with that.
Exactly. I think the professor recently also told us this
Yeah.
thing that underline whatever you want your professor or examiner to read, because
Yeah.
if you underline it, he or she is gonna their attention is gonna go there.
They will
So yeah,
focus on
definitely
those
time is a
particular.
constraint, definitely. But I think if it's like a very long answer, so if you want to go about, I think that is will be done. So I think yeah, even Shreya has some great tips. I think all of us have our own path and our own mind. Some things are alike, some things are different. So yeah, I think I have shared everything that I had in my mind today. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, Shreya.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ashi, for joining in today.